Hello, please, you're welcome to Introduction to Power Query. This is our final essay course. We are going to do this, and after this, we are going to look at three powerful final Excel complete analysis to move to Power BI. So we are going to do a bit of Power Query in Excel and move to Power BI to do the advanced Power Query in that. But what do we use Power Query for, and what does it mean? Power Query is an add-in in Excel and Power BI. We use it to load data and transform data. So how do we load data and how do we transform data as well in Excel? So now, the first thing we are going to do is to assess the Power Query in Excel. So in assessing, we are going to have practical experience on the Get Editor from the Data tab and from Query Editor. So we access the Power Query to Get Editor button in the Data tab in Excel Ribbon. And from the Data tab, we are going to get and transform. So over here, what we are going to do is to group the Data tab, go to the Group Data tab and start using Power Query. So please, if you are using 13, 16, 19, 21, and 13, you have Power Query option. But if you are using 10, please let us know and we will assist you in getting one. So from the Power Query editor, it provides visual interface to access. So we can transform and load our data into Excel. So in this case, we are going to connect data from so many sources. So we are going to learn how to connect data from Excel. And from Excel, we are going to look at some file extensions like CSV, test, and from the web, that's from the internet. How do we pull data from the internet? And even how do we pull data from a PDF file into Excel, right? So from databases and cloud services like Azure and Google Big Data Query is an advanced option that we are going to look at later. And over here, we have something called transforming data with Power Query. So transforming data means changing data, right, in Power Query. So in changing data, you remember that before you understand data, you clean your data. And when cleaning your data, you remove unwanted columns. You handle your missing values and you format data types. We are going to look at the types of data or data types we have in data analysis or data science, how we handle them and how we deal with them before or during analysis. So in merging data, you aggregate, you concatenate, and you filter data to the need upon the analysis you are doing. So we come to data cleaning and shaping data. When you are cleaning data, you remove errors, you standardize your format. So in some cases, you have, after importing or loading your data, you will see that some of your quantitative data is changing to qualitative data. You make sure you change it to the appropriate format before you do your analysis, as you are going to get errors, right? So you, in some cases, like having some part of your data being joined together or messing up, over here, we apply something called splitting test or splitting columns. So over here, you break down complex data into more manageable and usable ones. So especially you have your date and your time all combined in a single column. In order to know the date from the time, what you need to do to split the date in a different column and the time in a different column, right? In advanced Power Query techniques that we are going to look at more in Power BI, we are going to look at how to custom your function, how to use parameters, how to create conditional columns and data profiling for analyzing a quality and identify potential issues using data profiling, right? So we are going to look at all this and how to automate your Power Query workflows. So in Power Query, the most important thing in Power Query is if you import any data or load any data using Power Query, either from the internet, from databases, or even from Excel, CSV, or test, anytime you import your data or you update your data from any of these data sources, you just go to your Power Query, and there's a button that you just refresh, and it will update your data automatically in your Excel, right? You can share your queries with your organization, with team members, or with your supervisor. You can create a report, or you can automate your report. And here you integrate your Power Query into reporting workflows. So now when you integrate, what you do is to constantly keep refreshing your data, right? And you can deploy as well. So over here, you have to understand that Power Query is a very powerful tool that helps you to gather your data. It makes your analysis more efficient, and it helps you drive more informed decision making, right? So we are encouraging you to explore more on tutorials regarding Power Query from Power Query communities and experiments. And so you can exploit so many potentials and functions, right, in using Power Query. So now let's look at the data types and how useful it is in our data analysis or in our advanced Power Query function. So how we are going to handle such issues and similar in Excel, right? So over here, what we are going to do is to look at data types. So remember that the benefit of using Power Query is to save our time, increase readability, and unlock insight by mastering the Power Query, right? So the key feature of Power Query is to help us easily import data from multiple sources. We can reshape them and transform. Transforming means changing and create a reusable models, right? And over here, what we are to do is to understand the four main data types. The first one is a string. So in data science, qualitative data, right, is classified as a string data type. Each type of data is called a string, meaning a text such as names, addresses, and descriptions by text is called string. Quantitative data, either positive or negative, is called integer. So the preferred name we use in data science or analytics is called int. So we have a string data type 1, int data type 2, and we have what is called Boolean. Boolean means true or false, right? So any logical operation that you see in data science or data analysis in a structured data, meaning rows against column, you see true or false, it is called a Boolean data type. So if you have a column that states true, false, true, false, true, false from the beginning to the down, that column is called a Boolean column, or that column has a Boolean data type. We also have what is called a float. A float in data science or as a type of data is known as decimals. So when you see decimals in data analysis or data science, don't call it decimals. They are called floats, right? This date time comes in when we have a date and a time column, or you have a date and a time combined in one column. It is called date time, right? So we have four main types of data: a string, which is qualitative data; int, which is positive or negative numbers; Boolean, which is true or false; and float, which could be negative or positive decimal numbers, right? So take note of that. So importing and transforming data using Power Query, you connect. How do you connect? You load, you import, and you transform. And in transforming, meaning you are connecting, right? So when connecting, you transform it. In transforming, you leverage the wide range of data transformation tools, like you clean, you shape, and you enrich your data. In enriching your data means you are making sure that your data is perfect, your data types, everything is intact, right? And you automate. So over here, this is an example of a practical understanding of the data type. So the Canada here is in qualitative data form, which is a string. Michael over here is a string, and you see a date over here. So this is a date time, and you see numbers over here, 7, 9. This is an int data type, you see decimals over here, which is called Boolean. Which is called float. Now we don't have Boolean here. The Boolean would have been the true or false. So how to handle power data in Power Query? So make sure that when you are dealing with text manipulation, you split. Splitting means when you have two qualitative data, or you have qualitative data that you want to separate, right? You can split, you can concatenate, meaning joining two words together, right? Combining two words together. So your date time, you make sure you either split your date from your time column and case convention. So if you are using uppercase, you are converting your string data type to uppercase. Make sure that they all follow one trend, one pattern. Don't leave some in upper cases and others in lower cases. Some in sentences and others in lower cases. No, they should follow the same pattern, right? To make your analysis clean and rich. So working with integers and float in data types. So whenever you are working with numerical columns or arithmetic operations, make sure they all follow one pattern. So you make sure you understand this and you know how to apply them, right? So in advanced technique and best practices, we always apply conditional formatting. Over here, you make sure that you format the rules to highlight critical data points. What it means is that you make sure that your data is clean, your data follow one pattern, one data types, the data type or the various data types matches their required data type that needs to be. So if you see it in integer and it is a text, make sure you change it to text. And we are going to practicalize it over here, right? And we also create pivot tables over here to summarize our data like what we've already done in Excel. And DAS over here, DAS is sort of programming language in Excel and Power BI, right? We use DAS to combine Power Query to create more sophisticated data rows. So DAS is used for advanced calculation in Excel when we are using the Power Query, right? We have a terminology called pignation. Pignation means breaking a complex data set into manageable use to enhance your analysis, right? So when you have a complex data set, what we do is to paginate your data. So when I say paginating your data, meaning you are breaking your large data set into manageable pages for easier navigation and analysis. So now we are going to look at how to practically make use of data Power Query in Excel. And after this course and after our practical walkthrough, a complete Excel project, we are moving to Power BI. So take note. Please do further research and watch more videos, ask more questions. If you have any issues, contact us. Please, understanding this is very key because it is going to run through all programs all courses we are going to do. And if you want to advance your career into data science, understanding the four main types of data is very important. String, which is qualitative, int, which is quantitative, Boolean, which is true or false, float, which is decimals, right? So take note of that. And date time simply means date and a time, right? So thank you very much